Second grade. Today we're going to work on day 8. Our topic is punctuating dialogue, and our objective is I can use the correct dialogue punctuation when I punctuate dialogue with the tag at the beginning. Just like last time, we're going to turn to our master text, and that is on page 46 in your notebook. We're going to do the bottom portion and hunt for dialogue. And when I find it, I'm going to circle the quotation marks and I'm going to underline the dialogue. Use this one then. I see quotation marks, so I'm going to circle them. And then this is our dialogue. Use this one then, said the principal. He slapped down a pencil, turned and slammed the door. His shoes squeegeed down the hall. Quotation mark, pajamas. Raymond hissed. He crinkled his paper and snapped the pencil in two. He hid his head in his arms. How could I tell my story to him? The clock needles blurred before my eyes. No, I would not be an angel child for this cruel-hearted boy. It looks like we found all the dialogue in this text. So we're going to do our work on page 47, just the page over. And we have done our tagging in the middle right here where we tag at the end. This time we're going to take our same quotations from our story and we're going to tag at the front, at the beginning. So here's our example. We're going to tag at the beginning of either a exclamation mark or a question. And here's how it'll sound. She said, I love ice cream. And I noticed the comma. Here's our quotation marks. And here's our dialogue. And there's still the exclamation mark here. So I'm going to take mine from my story where I said, what was that, I wondered. And I'm going to put the tag at the front. I'm going to say, I wondered. And I'm going to put that comma, that's here, comma. Here's my quotation marks. What was that? And I'm using the question mark. Okay. And then I make sure I put my quotation marks at the end. So you have the comma. Well, first you have the tag at the front, a comma, quotation mark, dialogue, your question mark or exclamation mark, and then your comma or your quotation marks at the end. Okay, so make sure you follow that order when you're doing your own dialogue. Here is our tag at the beginning with a period. Remember, mine was, I think we should leave, Will said. And notice I have quotation marks, dialogue, comma, quotation marks, and then the tag. So let's see how it'll change when I put it at the front. So tag at the front. He said, I read for an hour. So here's our tag. Here's a comma, quotation mark, the dialogue, and notice, you probably have noticed this in the last times you've done this, that it's no longer a comma, right? Now instead it's a period. So make sure when you are using a period for your dialogue that when you tag at the beginning, it stays a period and the comma moves over here. So let's try this with my dialogue. I'm going to put the tag at the front. Will said, let me look back over here. Okay, I have the comma next. Comma, quotation marks, because I'm starting my dialogue. I think we should leave. Let me look over at our example. Okay, there's a period at the end, and then the quotations. So comma, well, first the tag, then the comma, quotation mark. I think we should leave the dialogue. Period stays there, and then the final quotation marks. All right, so I'm gonna go back into my personal narrative, and I'm gonna look to see if and now that I've done this whole page, I can be really careful and look through my whole personal narrative and see if there's any dialogue that I missed and didn't do all these steps with the quotation marks, the commas, making sure that I have the tags. I can even, if I want to, switch my ones that maybe I have the tag at the end, like this one. I could even see if I want to switch it and put the tag in the front, because that might make my readers more interested. It'll make some more variety. So I'm just going to start, and you're going to do the same thing in your personal narrative book. So you're going to read your personal narrative a lot of times, so you understand it really well. So remember, I added these arrows for what I'm adding into my story. So I'm going to make sure I read that first. Have you ever seen a large wild animal while on a camping trip? This is the story of the first time it happened to me. Will and I were walking on the wooden trail at Grover Hot Springs. I smelled the fresh cut wood and thought, this must be a new trail. Oh, you know what? I think that's me having inner dialogue. And I noticed it looks like I could tag in the front. So I think I need to add my quotation marks. Fresh cut wood and thought. I think I'm even going to add a word here. I'm going to do something called a carrot. I don't have space over here. This is just me telling myself I'm going to add something here. I thought to myself, and then I'm going to add that comma, quotation marks. This must be a new trail. And I can keep that period at the end, keep the quotation marks. So I'm using this carrot to just tell myself when I rewrite this, I'm going to add these words right here. And then I added the quotation marks at the beginning, and I underlined my dialogue to make sure that I put a quotation marks at the end, and I have my period at the end. You know what? I'm going to scoot this over just a little bit more so I know that the period comes first. I don't want to confuse myself when I make my final copy. Okay. I could see lots of trees around me. It was quiet, and all I could hear was our footsteps. Suddenly, I heard a loud thump. What was that, I wondered. I like having the tag at the end, so I'm going to keep that to myself. I looked at the forest floor and saw a pine cone that had fallen. I heard birds saying, squawk, squawk, as they flew away. I noticed that this is what the birds are saying, so I'm going to use quotation marks to say it. And guess what? I could even say that this is a tag at the beginning. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to rewrite this because I think if they were really loud birds, I think they should be loud. So I'm going to say exclamation marks after these squawks. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to rewrite this. I'm going to draw an arrow right here, and I'm going to rewrite it over here. So I heard birds saying, and I remember, let me look back at this. I'm going to put a comma here. Okay, saying, comma. I'm going to add my quotation mark to start it. And I think because I'm doing an exclamation mark, I'm going to do two, one after each squawk. Squawk, squawk. And let me see. Do I put a comma here? Do I put an exclamation mark? I'm gonna go check our example and double check. She said, I love ice cream. Oh, there's the exclamation mark stays, so I'm gonna keep that. Exclamation mark. Okay, and then I'm gonna cross this part out. Okay, let's try this now. I looked at the forest floor and saw a pine cone had fallen. I heard birds sing squawk, squawk as they flew away. Yeah, I like it. Awesome. Okay, so what you guys are gonna do on your own, I'm gonna do the rest of my story on my own, but I wanna let you guys get started. So you're going to first make sure you find all the dialogue that's in the story. I might have even missed some, so double check and make sure I found them all. And then you're gonna do parts 5 and 6. You're gonna look at the examples. You're gonna take your own dialogue and make sure you put the tag at the beginning. Make sure you use the comma in the right place. Use the quotation marks. And you're gonna practice with a exclamation mark, question mark, and a period. Then you're going to look through your personal narrative and make sure that you've tagged all your dialogue correctly or accurately, okay? And if you see any more spots where you want to add dialogue, you can do that too, all right? Keep working on your draft so it can be really strong, all right? Get started.